Everybody, and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today's video we are focusing on the cryptocurrency market and the bounce back that we've had today in the altcoin market as the Bitcoin dominance has taken a slight hit. As Bitcoin is hovering around $102,000, some of the altcoins starting to work their ways back to the upside. It would take way too long to focus on all of the altcoins, so we've got the others chart here, and this is a key zone from our Patreon when the liquidation happened. We outlined our negative Fibonacci region around 233 billion, which has been spiked into 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and we've had a nice reaction from there, heading back up to the 365 SMA on the daily time frame. So would expect the others chart to head up to 280 billion right now, and overall we've got a target of around 296 to 290 billion on the lower time frame for the others chart. But I think taking a look at the others chart here, it just puts into perspective as what's been happening in the cryptocurrency market since we had the big liquidation event that, in my opinion, kick-started the beginning stages of what I believe to be the altcoin season that is to come in the cryptocurrency market. I tweeted out 3 days ago that I believe the altcoin season has started before all of these bounces back in the market. And of course today we get a couple of people now changing the tune, a couple of bears turning sides, and we've got a real division in the market. It seems at the minute between bulls and bears. And the market is doing its best to appease both and wreck both sides, in my opinion. But taking a zoom out, guys, on the others chart, you can see what we've done. In fact, we'll go to the monthly time frame here. I think that should give us the bigger picture as to what has actually happened in the last couple of months. Okay, so the big liquidation event that we saw, the catastrophic move in one single candle, all the way down to around 50%, a 50% drop, and that led into about a 18, 19, 95% drop in some of the other alts. Big liquidation event. Not many people saw it coming. We called for a pullback. We called for the 230 billion. We did not call for that 160 billion. So I would suggest, if you are looking for a bit of context about what we were saying back then, go to the last YouTube video when we said that we thought the big liquidation event could begin to start the alt season. So then we started to talk about the wick fill, and a lot of people was expecting this wick to be taken on the alts, and that goes for all of the alts that wicked down the lower bound of wicks. We can't go through every single altcoin today, but a lot of the altcoins have wicks below their ranges, all-time lows, that look a little something like that. But you can see on the others chart, what we've done is that key region that we talked about in the last video, the 38 to 50% region has wicked down. So the 1 monthly time frame, we left a big wick and we came down to fill around 38 to 50%, the exact precise level that we talked about in our last video on the others chart. So a really key zone that has been hit, and now the market's setting up what seems to be a nice monthly push back to the upside. So our upper bound range on the others chart is around the 300 billion zone, a very psychological level too. And we've also, on the higher time frame, on the 3 monthly time frame on the others chart, looking at this earlier, yeah, we've got a 3 wick pin. So if anyone's new to the channel or new to the account, we like to talk about these 3 wick pins that present themselves on the much higher time frames, with the third wick often coming below for a little trend line deviation. All of this we've talked about many times in the Patreon, but what seems to be happening now, guys, is we are consolidating in this range. So what could be happening on the weekly time frame, we've done the higher time frame analysis. Yeah, it seems to me we've got a clear zone of inefficiency in the market there, around 285 to 290 billion. So that's going to be our first major, what seems to be resistance. I think a lot of people are going to call that resistance. A lot of people that I've seen online are now beginning to short the market, which is absolutely perfect for us, because the shorts in the market just like the longs in the market can lead to them big moves to the upside, just like that long liquidation led all the way to that big, all them long liquidations led the market all the way back down to some very, very key weekly levels. Trend line manipulation, long lasting moving averages. We've got Bitcoin that has come back into some very, very key regions on the higher time frame. I mean, guys, when we're talking about altcoin season, this is everything that we want to see. We've got everything on a plate right here. We've got Bitcoin at the all-time highs. People telling us that altcoin season can never happen. There's people online saying also altcoin season can happen, but it's never going to be the same. You've got people online saying altcoin season will never happen again because of the amount of coins in the market. But let me tell you guys, let's take a look at ZCash. This is one that we had in the Patreon since $20. So since that $20 region, ZCash has risen 3,500%, and it's done that in the space of a span of 45 days. And when we talk about altcoin moves, guys, what we have to be careful for is the time spans that these things do happen. In my experience, it tends to be about a 45 to 60 day period where these types of moves can happen in altcoins, and it's very, very rare. So what we've seen in the market here is, in my opinion, the clues have been given to us. With strength returning to the market today, the clues have been given to us in the other altcoins that are long-lasting altcoins. Now, I'm not talking about the meme coin, guys, that's not in the top 1,000 or not in the top 100. I'm not talking about some nonsense coin. Some will do well, some will not do as well, in my opinion. But like I said 3 days ago, I believe altcoin season has started. My opinion is not going to change on that. We've been given the clues. The strength has come back into the market today. Given, just take a look at the market, guys. Some of our favorite coins there that we've been calling for a very, very nice key setup on Curve. We got a long setup in the Patreon, and then we released it on Twitter. So a lot of people have had a chance to really benefit from a couple of them spikes into them key regions on a couple of alts. So what's in my opinion, what's going to be happening now is we're seeing a transition in the market. Remember our chart that we released on Twitter the other day, and we'll drop it down to the lower time frame, go to the daily time frame, and we're kind of looking for that total market cap chart to return to that 4 trillion zone, just like we're looking for the others chart to return to a big psychological level. So we've got psychological levels playing into fruition here, and in the end, guys, I expect our total market cap to hit around 5 or 6 trillion, hit the upper bound of this range on the total market cap, and then head on into an absolutely dreadful bear market. Of course, we could transition way further, we could push way further into that 7 trillion zone. Would be a very, very nice zone if we hit that 7 trillion mark. But I'm not gonna count my blessings on that one. I'm really looking at that 5 to 6 trillion zone, given our trend-based Fibonacci extension here. This trend-based Fibonacci extension has provided some very, very key vital reactions here, and it also provided some very, very key vital reactions on our Bitcoin chart. Remember this. Remember when we tweeted down here about the bottom being in for Bitcoin, big massive rise, and we said the ending move could potentially come to fruition in some kind of wave where we extend beyond the trend-based Fibonacci. Sorry, not the trend-based Fibonacci, guys, the channel Fibonacci. I also said it on the others chart as well. Yeah, the channel Fibonacci that we got here, providing some very, very key levels again. I do believe we will maybe extend in the Bitcoin chart here, something like this. But the way Bitcoin is behaving in relation to the altcoin market, in my opinion, we've still got a much bigger catch up to be made by the altcoins. So when we actually look at the total market cap and we try to look for the clues as to what could be happening here, so we've got Bitcoin that looks very, very similar. However, the total altcoin market, I do believe, has a trend line manipulation to make. So you can see here, guys, we've got a nice big trend line here from top to top, and quite often you'll see an overthrow into them types of trend lines, which would give us that nice 5 trillion zone. If it takes a little bit longer, so be it. I know a lot of people are saying 2026 has to be a bear market. It has to go down in 2026. And to be honest, I do agree, but when you've got a lot of people coming together and saying the same thing, just like everyone's saying that the bear market has begun now, when you've got everyone saying that the bear market will continue to 2026, makes me very, very skeptical actually as to how long and how high we will go, because when people talk about 2026, it's almost like everybody online, everybody on YouTube, everyone on Twitter is expecting a recession, global depression. And like I said, I tend to agree, but at the same time, if everyone is in agreement with this type of thing that's going to happen potentially in 2026, then we have to question it, because we've got a president in the United States that seems to be destined to not let the market fall while he is in presidency. So we just have to keep that in mind, that potentially 2026 doesn't have to be as bad as everybody is saying. But let's get back to what we was talking about here with the total market cap. So let's say, guys, we're looking for a move all the way to that 5 trillion, 4, 5, 6 trillion zone. That would need a 40% increase in cash in the market liquidity. We're seeing liquidity being printed now. We're seeing liquidity come back into the market, a little bit of strength coming back into the market. People talking about the Fed. I tend to stray away from those types of conversations because, in my opinion, the clues tend to be in the charts quite often. So guys, for the total market cap, if we was to get another extra dip below, I'd be looking for the 3.04 trillion region, our negative Fibonacci, retest of that zone. Then we're looking for the overthrow of the key trend line to the upside into that 5 trillion region. Could be early 2026, go higher, could be later, could overthrow. We don't 100% know, but I've remained bullish from 2022, 2023, all the way to now. And we're now finally seeing the final stages of the market come to fruition, where this is the time to lock in. A lot of people left, a lot of people didn't want to leave the market, but got made to leave the market on that big liquidation event. Altcoins taking people out of the market. Some of the biggest crypto investors, some of the best crypto investors, some of the people that you'd think have very, very good risk management, taken out of the market. Maybe not even down to their own mistakes, maybe down to an illiquid exchange that they're using. So when we talk about altcoins ready to run, altcoins have done everything in their power to wreck people in the last year, or even the last 3 years. So if you're still in the market and you're still in the game, survival is the name of the game in the market. And to survive to this point and quit before what I believe to be the ending move in the market is indeed, I think, a mistake. Now, that's not to say I've not taken profit on some of the altcoins. Quite often I will talk publicly about the big plays that we've had: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, HBAR, the main plays were 50, 60% out the market. But we're leaving them 40%, 50%, not just for fun. It's because we think the market's going to go higher. The reason I take out money in the pumps is because it makes it so much easier to navigate every single dump. If you're not 100% fully in the market every single dip, then you can manage it a little bit easier, and it's different for everybody psychologically, how you play the market, how you play the game, how you play this rigged game of the market. It's totally up to you on how you manage that risk. But for me, having half the money out straight away, get that initial investment, a little bit of profit out, then navigate the dips, worry about the potential remaining assets that you've got left in the market, maybe use a little bit of cash to rotate into some higher potential players like Track or Curve or CVX, things like that. But yeah, the way I navigate the market cycles, guys, is big proportion. We've got to go BTC, then Ethereum, allocate big to XRP, HBAR. These are the tried and tested, proven altcoins that have given me major gains over the years. Every single cycle I'll be playing those coins, and then I'll mess around sometimes with a few other coins. Yeah, that's the way I like to play the cycle, guys. But in these final moves, it's when we tend to see the rest of the market really outperform top 100, top 500. We're going to have some winners, we're going to have some losers. We're going to have some that go up 3,000% like ZEC. We're going to have some that go up 1,000, some 500, some 300. And we just do not know. We just do not know which ones are going to be the winners of the cycle. There's hints, there's clues that you can take in market structures and fundamentals, but overall you never know. So you got to take that money out as soon as possible when you've got the chance. I do agree. But to be fully out the market at this stage of the game, absolutely not. I don't agree with that. I think we've got a big move ready to come, and if that's a 40% increase in the market, maybe we see something like a 20% increase in Bitcoin just hit the high. A 40% increase in the market doesn't have to mean that Bitcoin has to go up 40%. It could mean Bitcoin goes up 20% and the rest of the market allocates some money back to the rest of the altcoins that are potentially setting up some moves like ZCash and Digibyte and things like that, ICP, that have just proven some strength. So I think what we're seeing now is rotation here. We are seeing weaker moves. We are seeing weaker moves as the market goes up in the total market cap. But that final money rotation cannot be ignored when it comes down to the cryptocurrency market, because it offers the major opportunities for them 1000% gains, 2000 in that short period of time. So let's take a look at total free, guys, to end the video, and we'll get a nice clean chart up. This is kind of what I'm expecting. It's the drawing that we've had since March 2025. Shenanigans. The market makers giving us hell in these positions, but overall expecting that total free market cap to head on into that 2.4 trillion region. And when you talk about that 2 trillion being added back to the market and the money rotating through the market, it could go a little bit higher, it could fall short here, but the targets are going to remain the same, guys, on total free, with it being around a 2.4 trillion region that I'm looking for. So from current levels, big moves could happen as the money rotates. I know that only seems like a 100% move, but absolutely not. It would transition and slowly move through different altcoins, so we'd have big moves, much bigger moves than 100% if that move comes to fruition. We'll zoom out a little bit here, clean it up. There we go. Yeah, that's the kind of move that I'm expecting, guys. And it would kind of correlate into that 2026, early 2026 move, and then that 2026, 2027 recession, depression, what everyone's talking about, great economic collapse, whatever. Don't interest me too much, the narratives. This is this kind of wave structure that I'm looking for. So when we start to see that, and we start to see a little bit of Bitcoin dominance fall into our targets, then we can start to talk, in my opinion, about the end of the cycle coming to fruition. A lot of people want to see the lows taken. In my humble opinion, I think we head into that 45 region, the big bullish breaker. I've talked the reasons extensively why. I'm not going to go ahead and do that again in this video, because this video is already getting towards that 20-minute region, which is quite a lengthy watch. So if you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, give it a subscribe. You know the deal, guys. You don't have to do any of that if you don't want. But here we are, just making videos on the cryptocurrency market. We could get that wick fill, head up into that 64% region. Even better, we'd have a bigger drop, in my opinion. Or maybe what we're seeing in Bitcoin dominance is that wick fill only slightly, because we saw the big wicks that needed filling to the downside on alts. On the others chart, we've got that 30 to 50% wick fill, just like the rise back up here in dominance. So I know a lot of big accounts are saying, who've been right, are saying Bitcoin dominance must go higher. But them big accounts, I won't name them. Everyone knows the big accounts on YouTube. And I'm not here to slate any of those, because some people get some stuff right, some people get some stuff wrong. Everyone out here primarily with good content, I'm not going to slate. So, especially when people have been right so many times. So, yeah, I do think, though, when the big influencers who have been right, they don't need the market to do what they think it's going to do. So they can have a little bit less biased an opinion, which can lead a little bit into complacency. Everybody can get complacent. So just because somebody's been right all this time doesn't mean they will continue to be right. And they'll probably openly admit that if they are very, very good analysts. So we cannot negate the fact that we probably do get that inverse head and shoulder structure there, 64% likely, in my opinion. But we can't negate the fact that then wick fills have been already taken place on the others chart. Some of the alts have hit our lower targets especially Kev hit our long target as well that we posted on the Patreon, then shared on Twitter. So yeah, the major targets for the end of the cycle are going to be a drop in dominance to around 43 to 45%. So I'll just reiterate that is going to be the target. And yeah, I'm just playing the game how I've always played the game, guys. We've got a 50% cash allocation. We've had that for ages since we took some out of XRP, HBAR, Bitcoin, Ethereum. And we've got some left in the market, and we're just rotating a little bit of capital now around the rest of the market, trying to catch some of the altcoin season pumps. So it's not a case of me coming on here and promising false hopes and trying to sell everybody a dream here, guys, because I've already kind of won. I've already kind of played the cycle the way I want to play the cycle. If the market was to crash to zero, yeah, it'd hurt, but I've already won from this market cycle, and that's the way you have to play the game. So if you are new into the market, it's worth considering seeing how the cycle plays out, waiting for the next bear market, and really trying to dial in at that point. Because I've seen what it's like when people get into the market in these situations just as dominance is about to fall, and it can seem great at first, it can seem really, really easy, but just know that the market only makes it feel easy for a certain reason, because it wants you to put all your money back in, and that's something I refuse to do. Something I refuse to do is put all that money that I've taken out already back in. I'll put a set allocation back in, absolutely, but I'm never going to put it all back in, guys, because emotions would heighten. My mentality may change if I was to do that. So I have to carry on playing the way I play the market. And I think the dominance is going to fall to around 44-45%. Hopefully it goes to new lows, bigger moves for altcoins, great. Hopefully it does it now. If not, we've just got a little bit more waiting to do, in my opinion. But we've seen how a 40% move up back in Bitcoin, move back. I know it's been a bit wishy-washy this video, guys, but let's say that total market cap went back up. Bitcoin hit the high for about a 25% move again, takes out the shorts. See what that would be, see what that would look like. Shorts building up here, Bitcoin takes out the high, 25% move. Capital rotates through the market here, and we see that 40% move up in the total market cap into that 5, maybe 6 trillion region. Maybe it could be a bigger move and something like that, or maybe it just takes a little bit longer, then does something like that. In my opinion, we're missing a final stage of the market cycle. And I don't say that to bring hopium to people. I say it because I've been through the cycles, and I say it because there's always a certain feeling that you get before certain things happen in the market. And right now we're seeing a very, very similar thing that I've seen before, where people are beginning to not trust these moves. And that's what you want. You want people to never trust the move, because by the time people trust the move and by the time people accept alt season is here, it's likely already over, because like I've showed you earlier with ZCash, the moves only last about 45 to 60 days. So psychologically, it may take people a month to get back into the market, and then there's only 15 days left. And they cannot come to the realization that they've only got 15 days left of profits when they've waited so many years for an altcoin season. That's why you can never be totally out of the market, in my opinion. So I know I've rambled on a little bit here. I've just talked a little bit about what I'm seeing in the market, how I'm feeling, how I'm seeing the market play out. A couple of rotations in capital, Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin, some of the total market cap charts. A special chart here is Track. I think Track's going to be one of the big movers. Credit to Credible Crypto for this one, because I entered at a zone down here when just using a bit of Credible Crypto's analysis, to be honest, guys. Wasn't even my own. I just saw his analysis and thought, you know what, we've potentially got a 1-2-1-2 setup here. Elliott wave. If it plays out, great risk to reward. If we're wrong, it'll go down to a level where we can accept a certain percentage of loss. Simple as that. So yes, guys, it's been a long video, 25 minutes now, so a little bit of rambling, just a YouTube video. Keeping it calm, keeping it relaxed. Hopefully, as we see the rest of the market cycle play out, people finally get what they've been wanting, because it's been a long time coming, in my opinion. And people deserve it. People deserve it after waiting 4 or 5 years for certain types of moves. So if you're still here, you've survived, you've not gone too high on leverage and wiped yourself out, well done, take it as a win. And I believe we've got big moves to come. But then we'll start to talk about the bear market when it's time to talk about the bear market, which I don't think it is yet. So take it easy, guys. Sit back, relax, let the market do the work. It's not financial advice, and I'll see you next time.